So today on the channel, I'm talking about this new COB light from Sokani, the X60 RGB. It is a COB light that's Bowen's mount, is really small, only $220, is RGB and bicolor, so you really can't beat that for the price. So I'm going to review the light, let you know the pros and the cons, and unfortunately why I decided to return it, but it may not be the greatest light for me, but it may work out for you. So we'll go over it more after this. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Geoff Fagien. I'm a filmmaker and DP, and this is a channel where I talk a little bit about my work, show some behind the scenes, talk a little bit about gear, do some reviews in that aspect, and also try to spread some filmmaking tips from some of the work I'm doing. Today is one of those review videos, and we're talking about this light back here, the Sokani RGB. It's a really interesting light because it's supposed to output 80 watts, is only $220, does RGB and bicolor. It also can be battery powered if you have the right accessories. I also want to disclose that when I was doing the research for this review, I was researching different COB lights that had RGB because there really aren't that many of them. Godox just came out with theirs, and then I saw Sokani came out with theirs. So when I went to their website and their Facebook page to see what it's all about, maybe hit them up for a review, I happened to notice that they took some behind the scenes from my Star Trek Axanar fan film behind the scenes video to market one of their products that I didn't even use. So I do want to mention that. I asked them about it and they never replied back to me. I ended up buying this off of Amazon because I was really interested in the product, and it's not going to impact today's review, but I do want to mention that that incident happened because although I like the light, I'm not super fond of the company. And they didn't obviously pay me to do this review. It is a really good light for the money though, and it offers a lot of different features, so that whole situation isn't going to impact this review, but it's something that I felt had to be mentioned. So when it comes down to it, the Sokani offers 3 different features. It offers the typical bicolor mode, which is pretty cool. Then it goes into the RGB mode. Since this light does have RGB, the effects mode is definitely more usable than a lot of the other COB lights that offer it, because it can give you things like police sirens or really certain type of effects that you may want to put this light out of a window and make it look like it's something, and because it's color, it's RGB, you can do that. This light is not identical to the X60, but it is very, very similar. It has the exact same form factor as their first X60 light. Some of the differences are the button placements on the back, the app that comes with it for Android and iPhone, which actually works really well. And then there's supposed to be a remote. My unit didn't come with a remote, but in the manual it said it's supposed to, so it may have just been an issue with my specific unit. But the Bluetooth app is way better than using the remote anyways, because you can very quickly switch between the RGB functions, the dimness, the effects. You can control the entire light. Actually, you can even control a group of lights if you have multiple of these X60 RGBs, which is kind of the new thing, and it's cool that these companies are doing it because it actually lets us get the most out of these lights on set, and it lets you bring them into a more professional environment where you can control them and do what you need to do. The AC adapter for this light, instead of located on the back with an angle adapter, they actually just put it on the bottom of the unit, and to be fair, that's not necessarily the best placement because I can see this thing getting pulled out a lot. So whenever I put the X60 on a stand, I always made sure that I had the AC adapter very securely in place so it couldn't just get ripped out. Now, this light has all of the improvements that the version 2 of the X60 had, plus more. Now, if you've only seen videos on the original X60, the version 2 fixed the yoke problem where there wasn't really any grooves in the yoke, so if you put any kind of heavy modifier on the light itself, it would always droop down a little bit. But now it's got some ridges in there, it's got some grooves, and if you tighten it in, it's not moving. So you can use heavier Bowen's mount attachments. Now, speaking of the Bowen's mount, in the version 1, the Bowen's mount was horrible. It could not use almost any of my Bowen's mount accessories other than the reflector that came with the X60, and it was able to also use my lantern softbox. This new RGB version of the X60 can use every Bones mount accessory I have, which makes it usable because I can use a parabolic softbox, I can use my lantern, I can use my traditional rectangular softbox. There's just a lot of accessories that I played around with on this RGB X60, which softens the light, gives you a much better look, a much cleaner look in my opinion. I just really enjoyed that, so I'm really happy that they fixed the Bones mount because that was a huge issue. Now, we're gonna touch on why I'm going to end up returning it. This light is really only usable in studio conditions, and here's why. If you look at the dead center of the chip, you'll notice that there is a certain set of LEDs. And then if you look on the outside, you'll notice there's a circular big LED for daylight and a circular big LED for tungsten. All of this means that the different LEDs come on for the different effects. So if you're doing RGB, the center ones will come on for the RGB. If you're doing daylight or you're doing tungsten, the outer circular ones are going to come on for those, which means that this light does not actually output 60 watts when you're using the RGB mode or the tungsten mode or the daylight mode. And so it's a little far-fetched with how they're marketing it as a 60 light, because absolutely, totally, if everything was on, it would output 60 watts. If you look in the manual, the light is about 2/3 less powerful than the original X60, which was, again, an 80-watt light. Before I even knew about the differences in the output, I decided to bring this along on a shoot with me so I can have an RGB light. I figured the best way to test this, besides testing it here in the studio, was to do some real-world tests to see if I wanted to bring it on any future projects. And it served some purposes. It absolutely didn't do a dent on anything outdoors, but indoors, in a lot of the situations, it did work. It just wasn't as bright as I would like it to be. So what I'm gonna end up having to do is go get the Godox 200-watt COB light, because their COB lights are pretty much the only other ones right now that are somewhat high-powered and offer RGB. I also think, though, after seeing this Sokani light, I have a feeling Godox is doing the same thing, but that's why they have actually covered their light with the diffusion, so you can't really see it. But if you look in the manual, I'm sure you'll be able to see that the overall output on an 150-watt light or a 200-watt light isn't equivalent, which is why I'm going to go for the 200. So I'll do a review on that light soon as well. After doing the math, full output RGB is going to be equivalent to around 50 watts on this light, maybe less, maybe more, but I'm sure if you got it in your hands, you'd be able to see if that's enough for you. So that's why I wanted to let everyone know that although this light is not the perfect light for me, it may actually suit your purpose as well, especially with how small the light is, the Bones mount working, all the features that this light offers. A lot of real indie filmmakers can really take advantage of what you can get off of this light. For me, I have other RGB LED panels that I can use. I have a lot of gels, so it's not necessarily a light I need right now. So that's why I just decided to return it and test out the Godox. So let me know what you think about the Sokani X60. Do you think that it's an RGB light you want to add to your arsenal? Do you think it's fair that they used my video footage from my Axonar trailer shoot in promotion for a product that I never used? Let me know in the comments below. And if you got knowledge out of today's video, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to see more content like this on the channel. Until next time, thank you for watching, everybody. My name is Geoff Fagien, and I will see you in the next video.